Our top story this evening: for the 8th Saturday in a row, protesters are filling the streets of Seoul to demand President Park Geun-hye resign over the power abuse scandal involving her close confidant Choi Soon-sil. The protests have a different twist today, though, as thousands of protesters have also gathered outside the Constitutional Court of Korea instead of just Gwanghwamun to make their voices heard. They want the judges to promptly rule on the president's impeachment. Koreans that want President Park to stay are also out in force. Let's get the details from our Shin Se-min, who's outside the Constitutional Court for us. Se-min, how's it looking out there?
Mark, I don't know if you see behind me, but it is a constitutional court, and I'm just exactly 100 meters away from the constitutional court itself, the closest that protesters are allowed to come, according to a ruling by the Seoul Administrative Court. Now, in about half an hour's time, protesters will be making their way here and will arrive here to voice their support supporting for the 9 justices of the Constitutional Court that they reach a verdict on upholding National Assembly's impeachment motion against President Park. And if they come here and make their demonstrations all the way up to this intersection right across the Constitutional Court, it's most likely that the justices who are currently in the building reviewing the pretrial processes and preparing for the cases, they'll be likely to hear their voices from afar. And demonstration isn't taking place here only. Protesters will also march to the presidential office as well as the official residence of the acting president, Prime Minister Park Geun-hye. Mark, what's different about this weekend's protests is that there are dual opposing protests going on at the same time, including here at the Constitutional Court. A group of protesters are calling for the president to resign immediately, while another group, mainly supporters of President Park, have been rallying for her to be reinstated. And it's a bit difficult to give you a ballpark figure on the number of protesters, but what I can tell you is that both sides are here in their thousands. And most of the president's supporters left a little while ago to head to the top office, but those wanting the president to step down are making their way, as I said about a minute ago. And the people are rallying with Korea's national flag are the conservatives who want President Park fully reinstated, while those with the candles are the ones demanding the change. The latter are the group we are more familiar with, as we've seen them flooding into the streets of Central Seoul every Saturday for the past 2 months. Given the potential for clashes, the streets around here, including this location, are bustling with more than 18,000 police officers dispatched from all over the capital to keep the peace and opposing protesters apart from where they're possible. Now, there hasn't been any trouble between the two sides, but police are continuing to monitor the situation until all the protesters disperse. We'll also be keeping an eye on the development and bring you the update at 22 Korea time. Mark?